Mom, Dad, what's the...
Just a friend, yeah.
Okay.
Fani, nice to meet you.
So, Corporal Clark.
Nice to meet you. What?
So, apparently,
Nice to meet you.
apparently her license is suspended.
News to me, okay.
For something. Doesn't tell us what for or why or where, or that's something she's going to have to call DMV and find out. Okay. Probably what happened, she had a speeding ticket, some kind of traffic infraction, never went to court, didn't take care of it. Okay. That's the best guess. So, she's gone over to Fayette County Jail, which is right in the Fayetteville Square. It's 145 Johnson Avenue. Yeah. Normally, I would say a couple hours is the process. It just depends on how busy they are and like that, okay? The driving on the suspended is basically a traffic citation. She's got to have her fingerprints done and picture taken, then she can make her bond.
The arrest of Fani Willis's daughter, Kinaya Willis, in August 2024 added another layer of controversy. Kinaya was taken into custody for driving with a suspended license, which she claimed she was unaware of. Fani Willis's daughter was arrested by the FBI and then decided to cooperate by providing information against her mother, creating a sensational and deeply personal legal drama that had significant implications. Such a situation not only thrust Willis into the center of public and legal scrutiny, but also raised serious questions about her professional and personal life.
What happened was, in late August 24th, her daughter got, I think she was arrested for having a suspended license. Because what we see in the video I'm about to show you is the mom, Fani Willis, show up and the daughter's not there. And the cop is explaining to her that the daughter, who is pregnant, has been, I think, taken away. That's what I heard, because she'd been pulled over for allegedly using a cell phone behind the wheel. And then they found that she had an earlier run-in with the law that had not yet been resolved. And that's how they wind up arresting you. She'd been on the phone with Fani Willis, reportedly, and I guess her license had been revoked a few months earlier. She said she was unaware of that. I don't drive around with my male friends, and when a kid got in trouble, I certainly would not be, these two are still together. That's my strong opinion, and they never weren't together. They've been together the whole time. I believe it's yet another incident of perjury for them to have gotten up there and falsely claimed that they hadn't started this affair back in 2019, long before she brought him in. And they lied when they said they had broken up because they're running around together, putting out fires with the daughter, super casual in the car. That's my take, Glenn. What do you make of the whole thing?
Megan, have you ever seen in all your time as a lawyer or as a journalist a prosecution blow up in the face of a district attorney more than this one? The whole proceeding has been a joke. When she would go on the stand and she would be asked about the vacations they took together and one of them paid, and she would say, oh no, we split the charges. Well, where's the proof of that? Oh, I have a ton of cash in my house. I don't know if you know this, but Black people are taught to have cash in their house, so I paid him in cash. The whole thing has been a joke from the start. Everyone understands that she's been lying.
During a highly charged hearing in early 2024, Fani Willis displayed visible frustration when her personal life was probed by defense attorneys. The line of questioning focused on her romantic relationship with Nathan Wade and the financial matters surrounding it. Willis was particularly defensive about the implications that her relationship with Wade may have impacted her professional duties, accusing the lawyers of mischaracterizing her testimony and unfairly attacking her.
You once said that you would not engage with a personal relationship with anyone that worked for Fulton County. Is that correct?
An employee?
Anyone that worked for Fulton County.
I think I said an employee.
Okay. So that's the qualification you give an employee? You wouldn't.
I think that's the statement that I made. So if you want to quote me accurately.
So it's your position because Mr. Wade was not an employee? Or it's your position he wasn't an employee, correct?
Mr. Wade is not an employee, and he will tell you that over and over again.
Just 1 moment, Judge. I'm sorry, the statement, just so I make sure I accurately quote you, what you said.
A year ago, Fani Willis addressed allegations surrounding her personal conduct, particularly in light of the high-profile nature of her cases, including those related to former President Donald Trump. Fani Willis has given a statement about 1 year ago when she was facing allegations, and she has said that she lived the experience of being a black woman who was attacked and mistreated.
What can I say? I lived the experience of a black woman who is attacked and over-sexualized. See, I'm so tired of hearing these idiots call my name as Fanny in a way to attempt to humiliate me. Because like silly schoolboys, the name reminds them of a woman's rear.
Another issue that has sparked public debate involves allegations regarding Fani Willis's handling of cash. During court testimony, Willis explained that she paid significant bills, including a $4,600 tax lien in cash. Willis defended this habit by referencing advice from her father, who told her to always keep 6 months' worth of cash on hand due to past experiences with financial discrimination. Willis rejected any implication of wrongdoing, insisting that her money was hard-earned and the result of her own work.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through however you pay.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay this tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my
I'm going to
bills?
object. This is not relevant as it relates to why we're here today.
Mr. Merchant, are you trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about, yes.
All right. Re-ask the question.
You had a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
Did you say I did?
Throughout the various challenges she has faced, Fani Willis has remained vocal about her mission to uphold justice, especially for women. She has highlighted her role as a public servant and has framed her pursuit of justice as a broader fight for gender equality. Willis expressed her dedication to ensuring that Lady Justice works hard for every woman, particularly as she continues to prosecute significant cases, including those involving Donald Trump.
Dr. Willis filed a motion to dismiss the appeal that is seeking to have her removed from the case. If the motion is denied, the Georgia Court of Appeals will hear arguments in October. Willis did not directly address the case, but did say she would continue to work toward what she calls her mission to make sure justice serves every member of the public.
I have caused others so much fear by having the audacity to work towards my oath every day to make sure Lady Justice works hard for, hear me on this, that Lady Justice works hard every day to serve all of her constituents.
The arrest of Kenaya Willis, Fani Willis's daughter, came at a particularly sensitive time, with many commentators, including Megyn Kelly, noting the poor optics of the situation. The presence of Nathan Wade, alongside Willis at the scene, only fueled public skepticism about the DA's personal life and its potential impact on her professional responsibilities.
You would think that you would want to kind of cross all your T's and dot all your I's and make sure that, you are on the up and up from a PR and optics standpoint. This looks absolutely terrible for two reasons. Number one, your pregnant daughter blamed you for her being pulled over, which in some may, surmise that maybe perhaps her suspended license has something to do with Fani Willis. I don't know. But number two, you show up with the special prosecutor who was disqualified from your case against Trump over. If it's far from over, what are you doing showing up in the same car in street clothes? And Nathan Wade seems to be taking the reins. Like, what's going on? What did she do? What's happening? Again, it's just absolutely nuts. It's either one of two things. Either A, Fannie Cash Money G is a lot dumber than all of us thought. Or two, which may be more likely, or maybe all the above, she is somehow protected by the powers that be. Remember the mentorship with Kamala. Kamala is so heavily involved in this. It's an absolute train wreck. It's like trying to unscramble scrambled eggs. Why are you not involved in that case? What is your job as district attorney? If you're not to prosecute the kind of cases that get this type of high profile notoriety, this kind of scrutiny, what are you doing hanging out with Nathan Wade, who you said under oath you have zero relationship with? Now all of a sudden you're cozy and your friends and street clothes. I mean, it looks like they just came back from a hotel for all I know. So either she is so myopic and so diminished capacity, diminished intelligence, which is very, very likely. I mean, I'm leaning on that. Or two, she can act with such impunity. She's so protected from the powers that be.
Rumors surrounding the relationship between Nathan Wade and Willis's family intensified after the arrest, with some speculating that Wade was a father figure to Willis's daughters. However, Willis has refuted these claims, stating that Wade is simply a friend.
Apparently still is, right? This is still happening because I'm not sure why would Fani Willis show up to the site of her daughter's arrest with Nathan Wade if she's not in a relationship with him, okay? This is some stepdaddy type stuff, right? I mean, that's what you would do with a stepdad, right? To show up to the site of your daughter's arrest, okay? So let's read a little bit more here. The pair, who came under fire for their romance while prosecuting former President Donald Trump for election interference in the Peach State, have both separately testified that the affair ended last year. Yeah, so I don't believe that to be the case, okay? It looks like they were lying about that. But they both arrived quickly, casually dressed in black t-shirts when alerted that Willis's pregnant daughter was in trouble. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump to this body cam footage of this incident, and you guys let me know what you think about this.
Couple hours, probably. Mom, Dad, what's the
Just a friend, yeah.
Okay.
Fani, nice to meet you.
So,
Just a friend, aka stepdaddy, right? This stepdaddy, okay?
Despite the ongoing media coverage and legal controversies, many believe that Fani Willis could have managed these matters without creating legal controversy. The continued public scrutiny has only added to the pressures she faces as a district attorney, particularly as she handles high-stakes cases like the Trump election interference trial.
There was zero evidence that Fani Willis did anything wrong. No evidence, right? Judge McAfee said there was no material financial benefit that was realized by Fani Willis. He said that there was no conflict of interest because she never started this investigation and prosecution and indictment to benefit herself. He made it clear that there was nothing wrong that she did. That in and of itself could have ceased the analysis, and that could have been the end of it. It didn't have to go any further. What is the hypocrisy that really bothers me is this purity test that has to be applied to everyone else but the Republicans. It's this purity test that you have to pass if you are not a member of the GOP. And to that point, it's Letitia James and Fani Willis that are always the ones that get more scrutiny because of who they are. But if you're a Republican, it's okay because you can grab them by the you-know-what and get away with it.
Fani Willis has not hesitated to call out what she sees as deliberate falsehoods from the lawyers representing her opponents. During her court appearances, she accused defense attorneys of spreading lies about her personal and professional conduct.
Did you listen to any of the testimony?
I've been in my office pacing, ma'am.
Did you listen to any of the arguments?
I did hear the arguments this morning. It's ridiculous to me that you lied on Monday, and yet here we still are. And I did listen to that argument.
All right, so that was it, just the argument, no testimony.
Right, I listened to the argument this morning where Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday. And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued, but since it did, here I am.
Megyn Kelly, a prominent conservative commentator, has expressed a desire for justice to prevail, even as a Republican. Despite her political affiliations, Kelly has consistently argued that the truth must come to light, particularly in cases involving powerful figures like Fani Willis.
And I just want justice. I just want due process. I want transparency. So I hope that the Attorney General will. but I don't know, the political outcome of that. I'm not sure if they will investigate it or not. I hope that they will, and I think
What about filing the motion? Because Phil Holloway was on the show on last Friday, and he was saying there's a way for you guys to file a motion before Judge McAfee saying, we believe that 2 officers of the court perjured themselves, committed felonies in your courtroom, and as officers of the court, we're bringing this to your attention.
Kelly's stance highlights a broader concern about the integrity of legal institutions, as she continues to provide critical analysis of the ongoing events surrounding Willis and her role as district attorney.
I'm still investigating. Some of the subpoenas that I sent for the evidentiary hearing, some of the business records are still coming in. So, we've recently got new records, from another travel agent. And so I'm digesting all of those. Another thing other than the phone records is the credit card statements. Ms. Willis could have given credit card statements. She gave one, which to me says there was only one, one time that she actually paid for travel with a credit card, which, anyone that travels knows you kind of have to have a credit card. You can't really book hotels. You can't do any of that stuff without a credit card. So that's sort of surprising. So if I was being accused of something and I had credit card statements to show that I wasn't on trips with Mr. Wade or that I had paid for things, I would be producing those credit card statements. But that's something that can be subpoenaed as well. But Ms. Willis has this protection on her. And so whenever we try to subpoena any of her records, all of these red lights go off and everything is shut down. So we only were able to subpoena Mr. Wade's records because of her position. She's got certain protections up. And so when we subpoena the records, they're saying, no, we're not giving you these records.
Megyn Kelly's coverage of the Fani Willis controversies has brought up several issues that have not been widely discussed in the media, from her questioning of Willis's personal life to her critique of the broader implications for the justice system. Kelly has provided a sharp, often critical lens on the DA's actions.
We've got a specter of money laundering here that raises itself. We have a number of issues that she brought out. Nobody had developed them before, that actually, ironically, put her under the spotlight that comes from the Georgia RICO statutes that she's proceeding against Mr. Trump under. So my, you get on the stand and you were prosecuting somebody and you blurt out stuff that...
What any prosecutor in her DA's office was making. So by any measure, more than people who worked as DAs under her were making. And she was enjoying the fruits of that labor. There's no question they were taking trips together. He was footing the bill. She now says she was reimbursing him, but there are no receipts. But your point is, she had an obligation to go to the judge at that point and say, I've brought in this person. I am now in a romantic sexual relationship with this person who is getting paid above market versus my own DAs and versus the other 2 prosecutors who I've brought in.
About 3 months ago, during an interview on MSNBC, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis revealed that she had been facing public threats amid her high-profile investigations. Willis, known for her involvement in significant legal proceedings, including those related to the 2020 election interference case in Georgia, expressed concerns about the safety of her team and herself.
Because of ongoing threats against you. I saw footage last week at an event honoring the South Fulton police. You got a little bit emotional, thanking the police for having kept you safe in what has been a remarkably threatening environment for you. I wondered what effect the sort of constant threat of violence that you've been living with has had on you and on your ability to do your work.
Thank you for asking. Not many people ask about what is the personal journey that's been going on. And it really hasn't been happening in the last year. It's been happening since about a month after I took office. From the time I took office, I began to get threats. Those threats come in the way of emails. Those threats come in the way of phone calls, text messages, which way you can imagine. At some point, the threats became where I had to leave my home. And I've been out of my home since the first year in office. They've come from a variety of sources. One of the first things that ever happened was there was a protest at my house at 5 o'clock in the morning. People mad because the last administration had left police cases, lots of them, and they wanted immediate action on them. And so that was the first thing that kind of happened. But the threats have certainly been about lots of different kinds of cases that I've prosecuted. People are very unhappy with them because of some recent cases that most of them are racial in nature. It has cost me to leave my home financially, paying for, my mortgage because I refuse to give up the home where I raise my children, but also paying for another establishment. And I have 24-hour really protection around me. So it's a very interesting way to live, but it's well worth it. To have the honor of being the first female district attorney in Fulton County, it pales in comparison to what my victims are going through. And the reality is, one of the reasons we are upsetting people is we are so successful here in Fulton County. I have the third largest crime drop in America. We have it because we're taking a balanced approach, both unapologetically going after gangs and violent criminals and anyone who should violate the law in my county, but we're also doing programs. And so it has been a huge sacrifice, but it's well worth it.
About 4 months ago, ABC News reported that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis could face serious legal challenges as scrutiny mounted over her own conduct amid ongoing high-stakes investigations. The report highlighted that Georgia prosecutors had decided to look into allegations against Willis, suggesting potential conflicts of interest and possible ethical misconduct in her handling of politically charged cases, including those related to the 2020 election interference.
The Fulton County DA's office declined to comment to ABC News. You know the Georgia legal system very well. Does this appeals court ruling put the case in jeopardy?
It does, Lindsay, and I think that's because of the timing of it. We're looking at probably at least 6 months before we get a ruling from the Georgia Court of Appeals. I've spoken with constitutional law professors. They indicated that the Georgia case can't go forward if the former president is elected to this presidency. So, yeah, the case is in real jeopardy, and it could end, with the former president taking office. It could also be in jeopardy if the Court of Appeals disagrees with Judge McAfee and decides that, disqualification of Fani Willis and her.
The investigation into Willis represented a significant twist as it raised questions about her decision-making and impartiality while she was actively pursuing high-profile figures in her capacity as DA.
Office are a problem. That puts the case in a little bit of a prosecutorial limbo, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen from there. So to answer your question, yes, the case is in real jeopardy. This is a major roadblock.
I want to play a portion of our exclusive interview with former Fulton County Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. Let's take a listen.
So you said you didn't want to violate the public's trust. I'm curious, do you think that you've done any kind of damage to this case?
None at all. None at all.
Even the public perception of it?
My private life became the focal point of the case. My private life has nothing to do with the merits of that prosecution.
What are your thoughts on it? Let us know in the comments section. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.